Welcome back to Made for More. I am your host, Holly J. Moore. On Made for More, this is where we help you wherever you are in life. We help you to level up. We do this by every episode giving you one just maybe tiny little nugget to help you show up as a better version of yourself tomorrow than you showed up today. Because we don't want to just survive through life. We want to thrive. I am here with my producer, Aaron Bender, but not just any Aaron Bender, the Aaron Bender. Aaron, why would we say No. Let me back up. I got a phone call.
Okay.
After one of our last shoot days.
Yes.
From Craig Strom, financial planner, the income engineer. And he was like, oh my God, Holly, I knew that was Aaron Bender. I didn't know that was the Aaron Bender. So Aaron, why don't you tell us who you are?
First off, let me just address the Craig issue, the Craig in the room.
Yes, the Craig in the room.
He emailed me. This is like days after his, or maybe not even days, but his episode was the current episode.
Yes.
And so he emailed me and said, simply, call me, and left his phone number.
Oh God, that's always scary.
And oh gosh, and he's not even my boss. I thought I was getting fired. But I thought maybe there's something wrong with the episode. Maybe he didn't like how I positioned it because he had some thoughts about Dave Ramsey.
Yes.
So I positioned it. I was like, hey, let's try to, get some eyeballs out there, throw some Dave Ramsey meat for the to the wolves.
Yes.
And he's like, I am so sorry that I didn't know who you were. I didn't make the connection, but of course, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. So I spent 12 years on a radio station here in Southern California, KFI, AM 640, in various roles, but my main role was news anchor / sidekick to Tim Conway Jr. Mm-hmm. And I spent about a year and a half syncing ratings in the mornings, doing news during the Bill Handel show and trying to do my own thing at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Yes. Ratings were terrible, so they moved me back to evenings.
Okay.
And then by my own hand and volition, if you will, in 2019, I left them no choice but to say, okay, bye, bye. And it was an absolute blessing because then 2 months later, the breast cancer that my late wife had fought already, in 2017, came back, spread everywhere, lungs, bone, adrenals, liver, and then eventually to her brain. And she passed away in late 2020. 2 months after that re-diagnosis, if you will, the pandemic hit.
Right.
So it's like this home was exactly where I needed to be.
Right.
I was still, by that point, 8 years I had been, about 7 or 8 years I've been teaching at Cal State Northridge, journalism. And so I just continued to do that during, on Zoom.
Yeah.
And so it was a blessing.
Yes.
And then year and a half later, again, my wife had passed away. I was baptized into the Catholic Church, into the Catholic faith. And it was all just part of the plan that I didn't know about, didn't want to see, didn't want to hear, didn't want to, acknowledge or admit or accept. And it was just what it was supposed to be.
Well, we talk about that so often here on the show is like how these really difficult times, these times of adversity, these times of challenge, like they really pave the path they can pave the path for something truly extraordinary. That's kind of my story too, is like tragedy was really, a springboard for a lot of things for me. So, but it's painful. It's so painful.
It is.
Yeah.
And, and then Craig, going back to that phone call, he was like, well, how'd you end up here? How'd you end up here?
Well, okay, so I went home that night and told my loving husband, Jeff, the story. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Like he's like, wait, the Aaron Bender? Like Aaron Bender is the Aaron Bender?
I can't imagine Jeff fanboying. I just cannot.
Well, I mean, he's certainly not fanboying over me because his next comment is, what the is he doing slumming with you? And we must bleep that out, please.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe. Maybe. I'm getting in trouble for leaving in things that should be edited out.
Yes, I
We
know.
have
I'm like, do we
meetings
do
and-
any editing at all?
Yeah,
Ever? And your answer is no, we do not, Holly.
No,
we do
generally not. Because honestly, the stuff that others edit out makes for great content if you just leave it in. But that's why we put all the bloopers and things like that in there. But yeah, so I still get, whether it's Craig or Jeff or just random people at Costco.
Yeah.
I will still get people coming up, and that is actually that's a testament, not necessarily to me, and while I appreciate the honor of being on the radio, it's a testament to the medium of radio and how intimate it is and can be, and that's kind of what podcasting has, in many ways, lacked, but is catching up.
Okay.
Because
what do you mean?
Well,
tell me more.
yes, made for more.
Yes.
So when you're listening to somebody on the radio every day as you're commuting,
Yes.
they're right there in the car with you.
Oh,
They're a friend. And so radio spent decades and decades building that and building that intimacy. And so podcasting, to a large degree, is still playing catch up, but shows, like, that's why radio shows that go to podcasts are oftentimes the most successful ones, because they know how to grab that listener.
Yeah.
And they call it's like stickiness. They know how to make that listener
Oh,
stick.
yeah, you want to be sticky. Anything
Yes.
in business, you want to be sticky.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and so we that's what we try to bring here to this podcast and
Yes.
this show.
Yes.
And that's where you try to find the magic, is
Right.
because we do a lot of episodes, 3, 4, 16 a day. We do a lot of episodes with the idea that something is going to stick to somebody at some point about something.
Yes.
I mean, you told me earlier this week that guests are now connecting with each other.
Yes. It's so cool. I love it. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And
yes.
if we can make that type of connection between guests, we can make that with viewers and listeners and followers.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, people are, I mean, I'm not making any money because of this podcast, but like other people are like making money from being on it and getting business. And, I mean, Liz is now like the makeup artist for your wedding. Like,
I know
it's
that.
so cool. It is so cool. I
I'd
love
forgotten
it.
about that. Like, that's also the
Yes,
connection.
yes.
Because Abby was like, do you think Liz could do something? I'm like, Liz?
Who's Liz?
Who's Liz? and she's like, Holly's makeup artist.
Yes,
And I
Holly's
said,
Liz.
Yeah, and I was like, well, but she's all the way out. And she's like, no, she's in Canoga Park, which is like 20 minutes from us.
Yeah.
So,
It's
by
so
the way,
crazy.
Liz, that drive, girl, I know. But you know what I want to do, though, Holly? Because our plan was to, I was going to snap my fingers, because this episode is actually about you.
Oh.
I know we made the first segment about me, and thank you. Thank you. I've been waiting for this the entire time.
And wait, before you go on, I just want to say, like, we are very blessed to have you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. That and despite the fear of my getting fired every single week, because I also do the talent acquisition, the recruiting for the firm, and that's my main goal. It's my main goal, Valerie. Main goal.
Yes.
Okay. But that's my main goal, and this is a fun thing that we like to do, and spread the word and try to get people to level up their lives every couple of weeks. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I wouldn't, I've told you this, I've told Val this, I would not make the drive, because I come from Santa Clarita to Corona.
You commute a really long way.
And I would not make the drive if I didn't really, really enjoy working with the people I work with. There are opportunities everywhere else, lots of places, farther, closer, whatever, work from home. And I wouldn't make the drive. I really wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Now, I know the idea was we're going to snap our fingers. I'm going to be sitting in that chair, and you're going to be sitting over there.
Yes.
But no. Honestly, I love this rapport right here.
Oh.
Let's just. Yeah, I know.
It was going to be so
I know.
cool. It was
You
like
want
boom.
to- Okay, fine. Let's do it. Let's
Okay.
go.
Ready?
No, it didn't work. We got to do it again. We got to do it again. Okay, at the same time. That's what it is. At the same time. 3, 2, 1.
Wait, I'm snapping. You're doing some weird thing.
Okay. We'll do this then. We'll do
what
the
are we
whoosh
doing?
whoosh.
Are we snapping or are we zhuzhing?
Zhuzhush and whoosh whoosh.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Snap.
You are fired.
We're with Holly J. Moore. She is the host of Made for More. Let me look at my note cards. It's not even for the right guest. Okay, so we have a special treat here today. Where do I put my arm? Where do you put your arms when you're doing that?
That is the hard thing.
Okay, oh, here we go.
That looks weird. I don't. Now you know what it's like to be the talent on this
true.
show.
That's true. No. Maybe the host, but no talent here. Okay? So, this episode is serving.
Oh my God.
There's some stuff over here. This episode. No, we're just going to power through. This episode.
You have to figure out your arms because it looks so weird.
This episode.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh gosh.
No.
Where do you put your arms?
I know it's very difficult. Yes. I think I keep them in my lap mostly when I'm there because it's very awkward.
All right. Okay. We're good.
Oh my God.
Compose.
Do I have like tears running down? Oh my God. Do I have like for real?
It's reminiscent of when last week I popped into Holly's office. I popped into Holly's office and I'm like, we were talking about age or something like that. I was like, are you 47? All the different scenarios were running through my mind of, you really shouldn't be asking any of this, let alone with that number to start.
You got to go low. You got to go low.
Yeah. So it's 32.
Oh my gosh.
All right. All of this is going in.
Oh my God.
By the way.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
We brought up radio and things like that. My favorites were when we just got into absolute giggle fits.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the clock and we're like, oh God, we have 5 more minutes of this segment. Can we break early? No, we can't. Okay, we're just gonna have to power through.
Could you hand me one of my dirty tissues in the drawer full of dirty tissues?
Sure. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Oh
ooh,
God.
Do we want to look what's actually in these drawers?
It's full of dirty tissues. Oh, that's
some sort of vinyl wallpaper. The front of the desk is this here, just in case we need more.
No, it's real marble.
Just in case we need more.
Don't tell people this.
Books of a guest who kept canceling.
I canceled multiple times.
Hammer. It's, you know what? Oh, we should
That's
get
for when you misbehave.
No, we should get a gavel for you.
I have a gavel.
No, but like in here. So that's a great point, Holly.
Yes.
Okay.
I could bring my gavel in. Okay.
Oh, no. And one of the reasons we're doing this also, I'm a big fan. Stop.
So witty.
Okay.
So witty.
Okay. All right. So let's, in all seriousness, okay. One of the reasons I wanted to do this episode is, A, we needed an episode to post. B, in bits and pieces, we've found out about you in the different episodes, like, you know, a little bit about your how I got into family law story, how I got into law school story, and things like that. A little bit about a family, a little bit about Jeff, and things like that. But here we're just going to dive in. We're just going to deep dive.
Yeah.
When did you know that you wanted to be an attorney?
Oh, I really can't remember because for as long as I can, as long as I have a memory, I wanted to be a lawyer. And I don't know why. My parents aren't lawyers. My parents didn't go to college. I don't have any lawyers in my family. When people ask me that question, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's just been for as long as I can think of, like, from a child. And even
before you knew what, even before you knew what a lawyer was or something like that, you're like, I like to argue.
Yeah.
Or what is it about?
It's not that it wasn't the I like to argue thing. I think I love power. Yes. And I think at some point I recognized lawyers have a certain amount of power just because they are kind of the liaison to our country's justice system, which is really like the foundation of so many things. And so, you know, thinking back, obviously when I'm like 5 years old, that's not my thought process, but like thinking back, trying to kind of like put the pieces of the puzzle together, that's kind of what I can surmise. On the playground, you know, I was always kind of the one where like, you know, there's always like that weird kid in class. I wasn't the weird kid.
Why did she look at me right when she said that?
Oh, no, I thought.
She realized the same way that I was asking her about her age last week. She realized as she said it, there's this weird kid. Oh, God, he's the weird kid. I'm sitting across from the weird kid.
Okay, no, that's actually not what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But I was the person that was like, guys, don't be mean to that person.
Yeah.
And when I would say that, they'd be like, oh, okay. You know, like Holly says, don't be like, okay, that's cool. So it's like I
kind of assume the role of protector or.
Yeah. It's like, you know, kind of like going to bat for the underdog.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think, you know, it takes like a certain kind of presence to do that. And maybe that's just something that, you know, I was born with. You know, just we all have our unique gifts, skills, and talents. And perhaps that's one of mine. And I kind of like exercise that from a young age. But that, you know, those kind of like playground experiences really taught me like you know, you can use your powers for good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what did your parents think when you're like, okay, I'm thinking about law school, or I am going to law school for sure, and this is the path?
I mean, my parents are like amazing parents. And so I think probably no matter what I would have said, they would have been supportive, and they were supportive, and they never wavered from their support. Until I told them I was going to be a divorce lawyer.
See, and here's the thing. Thank you for bringing that up, because she brought up her parents, still married after 50 plus years.
Yes.
Everybody in your life, including you, still married. Why
yes. Today.
family law?
I mean, tomorrow could be a different story.
By the time this airs, just...
You know, it could be Splitsville for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
But why family law?
Yeah. Well, so there's a saying out there that like family law, you don't find family law finds you. And I have found that to be very true for myself because, you know, divorce really has not been a part of my inner circle ever, even to this day. Like my childhood friends' parents are still married. Our friends are married. I'm married. You know, everybody is still married in my sort of inner circle. But, you know, some people have like heard this before because I've put it on Instagram, but I started off doing construction defect. And it's just kind of, you know, in law school, I interned at a particular law firm. At that particular law firm.
That's how it ends up a lot of times.
Yeah.
As I'm interviewing candidates, they're like, so I ask why family law? It's what I know.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's what they got kind of thrown into either in or after law school.
Right. Yes. A lot. That is like a very common answer is like, I'm always like, do you like it? It's what I know. Because there are some challenges to it. But in my particular case, doing construction defect, what construction defect actually is a lot of time. I mean, some people think of it as like, oh, you know, it's a homeowner that had a faulty house and they're getting justice. That's not mostly what it is. Yeah. What it mostly is billionaire land developers suing billionaire subcontractor companies for all sorts of stupid stuff. And so that really didn't feel good to my soul because I had one very like poignant experience where I was sitting across the desk as a baby lawyer. And again, I was telling somebody this story the other day going, why was I sitting across the desk from that caliber of client as a lawyer of 2 months? I don't know, but I was. And, you know, it was a very wealthy land developer. And he was like, Holly, sue, you know, so-and-so, a sub company. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, yes, let's do it. Like, what are we suing them for?
What did they do?
And he's like, I don't know, figure something out. And I'm like, okay.
Go digging.
Yeah, but why? Like, why? And he's like, because I hate that guy. I just want to annoy him. And like, this litigation isn't like, oh, we're going to go to a court hearing. This litigation is years long, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, like in divorce, there's 2 parties to the litigation, like husband and wife. In those cases, there could be 100 parties to the litigation because they'll just bring in every single person they can think of. So anyway, it just did not feel good to my soul. I'm
Yeah.
like, I racked up $200,000 in student loans for this, to do this. Like, this isn't cool. So at that particular firm, one partner did the construction defect. The other partner did family law. I was close to the other partner. I said, this sucks. She was like, come work under me in doing family law, see if that's a better fit. And it definitely was.
How many other firms in the world have one partner doing construction defect and the other doing family law? What is...
Oh, I'm sure that is the only one.
Because,
Yeah.
But that also speaks to like what we were talking about in our wildly popular first segment.
Oh, yes.
Is you never know quite where the path is going to take you.
You never know.
And so why else would a family law attorney be partnered with a construction defect attorney if not to launch your career? I mean, that's...
Ooh.
They might not have even understood why they were
Right.
partners, but it's like, okay, well, let's spawn this business, not even in our neighborhood, because then you move to Southern California,
Yeah.
kind of sight unseen practically to start everything.
Yes. Well, so that firm was in Orange County.
Okay, I'm completely, oh, hold on, check my notes,
Your fake notes.
my fake notes.
Yeah, but yes, that
Hold on,
firm
right
was in
there.
Orange County. But then I moved, I moved inland,
Oh, yes, okay.
which is like a totally different.
Pregnant with your first daughter, and you're like, you
Yeah.
know what, I'm going to start a firm. Oh, great, how long have you been an attorney? Less than a year.
Yeah. Well, so, again, it's this adversity that kind of like paves the way. That the firm that I was at, like, I will be forever grateful to them because they taught me so much. I really learned a lot about lawyering and things like that when I was there. But, the firm wasn't perfect. So my plan always was like, I'm going to work at a firm for 5 to 10 years, and then I will start my own business because that's what my dad has his own business. And he's always like, that's the only way to go. But I'm like, I got to learn how to do this thing first, right? So 5 to 10 years. Well, they hadn't paid me for like months. And I was 3 months pregnant with my first child. And I was like, how much worse could it get? Like, I'm not getting paid here. And, and if they were paying me, it was $20 an hour, by the way. So, yeah.
Okay, billionaire suing billionaire, how much do I get? $20 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now you know why I get a little salty when these candidates come in asking for $200,000,
Yes.
a month out of law school.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we can't pay off your student loan in the first year.
Right.
Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway, but it was like, what a blessing. And people, like, since when I tell the story, they're like, did you sue them? I'm like, no, I should have paid them to force me out like that because it was such a gift. Because had I waited 5 to 10 years, I mean, I opened this firm in 2008. Like, I opened it at 26 years old. I think, I don't know, maybe 28.
Don't do the
Doesn't
math.
matter. Doesn't
I tried
matter.
doing the math the other day. Don't do it.
It doesn't matter. It was pretty young to like open your own firm, but I would have never done that had, things been going the way they were going, which was not good at that other firm. Yeah.
You brought up age, and this is a transition that I'm just going to make. I'm just going to make it. It's your brother's birthday today.
It is. Oh,
Tell
whoa.
me about him.
Oh God. Oh, I'm not prepared for this.
But he's as much a part of your story as anything you've done before or since.
That is true. You did not prep me for this. Nope. So Aaron usually comes into glam and he's like, okay, this is what we're doing. You conspicuously left this out. Okay. So he was my big brother. He was 4 years older than me. He was a professional ski racer. So, and he did not that makes him any more special than anyone else, but it does tell you a lot about his personality because he was a downhill ski racer. So that's where you basically like strap on this like nylon suit and you go literally 95 miles an hour straight down a glacier of ice on 2 sticks that are very slippery.
Yes.
And so, that was his nickname was the Italian Temper. We're Italian.
Okay.
And he had a terrible temper. And like everything he did about his life was just like big, large and in charge, good and bad. Like it wasn't all good for sure. we were very close. He was like my hero, my best friend, all the things. And so, and he wasn't the best in school. We all have our unique gifts,
yes,
unique skills, gifts, and talents.
Yes.
School was not his.
Yeah. Well, because it took away from skiing.
Yeah. My mom used to always tell him, if you wanted to do well in school, you could.
Yeah, and I think we know a little bit more now about how that all works and everything. But the idea that, wait a minute, I could be on the mountain getting 6 hours of practice.
Yes.
Instead, I'm here for 6 hours,
right,
sitting, doing, in my mind, nothing. So of course, you need some sort of stimulus, and he's not getting it.
Right. Yeah. Very true. So because, his strength was not academics, and I did okay with academics, he was always like, he was on the U.S. ski team. He did the whole thing, traveled the world skiing, sponsorships up the wazoo, all that stuff. And so he was like, okay, by just about the time I'm going to retire from skiing, like, you'll be going to college. So we're going to go to UC Santa Barbara together. Okay. And, because you can't downhill race when you're like 45.
I was trying to do the math. I'm like, he's retiring at 22.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
it's very hard on your knees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, just about the time I'll retire from skiing, you're going to be going to college. We'll go to UC Santa Barbara together, and you'll do all my homework. I'll get you into all the parties. Like, this is the plan, right?
Yes.
And then we will, we'll probably buy houses next door to each other. We'll raise our families next to each. I mean, that was like really the plan.
Yeah.
That was the plan. And then he was killed in a car accident. So at 19 years old.
Wow. And you were only 16.
I was 16, yeah. I was actually 15.
How did that impact you? And how does that impact affect you now? How do you kind of wrap that into who you are now?
Yeah.
By choice or otherwise? Because, something like that, it has to impact you, but how?
Yeah. Well, I talked about my parents. They're really great parents. And of course, they, that happens like at a very formidable time in your life. And they're concerned about, how am I going to make it through? So they like put me in different like grief groups, counseling and grief groups and group therapy and individual therapy. They made, of course, all the resources available to me. And I remember like sitting in some of those grief groups, and like at the time it was like, my brother had been gone for like maybe a month, and there were people in there where their tragedy was like 15 years ago, and it's like they're still going to the groups, which is, I'm not saying anything derogatory about that, but their mindset was just like, they were still so in it. And they were
stuck.
struggling with things, with really destructive things, substance abuse, promiscuity, all these things, because they were kind of like stuck in that place.
Right.
And, and then you see other people, just out in the world or whatever, or that come and talk to you and inspire you, where it's like, yeah, this really terrible thing happened, and it like completely propelled me for something extraordinary. So I knew, again, not in those words in my 15-year-old mind at the time, but looking back, like putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, I think it was just always very clear to me that like, yeah, I'm not letting this like ruin me. I'm not letting this take me down. Like, I'm going to like do something extraordinary.
Go big or go home, like he used to say, right?
That's right.
Oh, tissue. Hold on.
I got a drawer full of dirty ones.
That's what I'm saying.
I kept this one. I put all the dirty ones in there.
Liz.
Treasures.
Liz, touch up. We're okay?
No, we're good.
We're good?
Yes.
Challenges to being your own boss and the boss of many others.
It's lonely. It's lonely at the top. It's lonely. There's not a lot of people that understand the pressures And now you got me all emotional, so I'm just gonna. You could be like, "What's in your coffee cup?" I'm like, "It's water." Damn you. But yeah, it can be lonely. It can be isolating. And it's a lot of pressure, you know. I mean, I remember worrying so much, like, how am I going to pay my own mortgage, you know, as with my own firm, and now I'm like, how are these 25? I got to make sure these 25 people can pay their own mortgage.
Right.
So it's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Favorite part about the job?
Oh my gosh, there's so many wonderful things. You know, there is really, so I think, you know, when you're starting off in life, you're like, okay, I want to be able to buy a house. I want to be able to have a nice car. I want those things. But then you kind of get a couple of those things and you're like, well, there's got to be something more. Aaron, I am made for more. Okay?
Yes, you are. Yes.
And the more is like finding meaning and purpose. And so it's like, then you find your purpose and you find like the meaning out of your particular life. And you're like, okay, I have a mission now. Like, I know what my mission is. And then having other people climb aboard that train and ride it with you is like so amazing. It's so amazing. And it's so, I don't know.
It's validating.
Awesome. Yes.
It's validating. Like, you know what? At some point, or at very many points, I made good decisions, made them for the right reasons, and look at, you know, this team.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a team, and whether that's the family team, or the work team, or the glam team, you know, I've got a team, and they're riding with me, and that feels really good.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, you know, as like in my particular scenario, you know, you start off with like really close contact with the clients because it's just me. So any client that hires me is getting only me. And I'm really focused on like helping those clients, you know, level up, live their best life, get through this really hard time in the best way possible. But as my role changes, as the firm grows, and I don't have that close contact with as many clients anymore, like I've really found a lot of purpose in like the team, like making sure the team is leveling up and the team is living their best life and the team is showing up as their best self. And like, that's really cool. I love that.
And it's fun to see, you know, if nothing else, selfishly, you know, like you look around and like, I did this shit.
But I didn't do it alone. I didn't. That's the thing.
With my superhero blazer.
I mean, yes, some days I'm like, I did this.
Yes.
But those are days when I'm like, yeah, like, get rid of those days because it's never alone. I mean, I have a very strong faith, which has gotten me through a lot. And, you know, I believe like, you know, God creates us all with certain things that we should do while we're on this planet. So I'm like, okay, God, you know, the goal is like at the end, he's going to be like, well done, good and faithful servant, right? Like that's the goal. And so you know, I couldn't do it without my faith, but also like you can't do it without the team. You know, like, yes, I want to see you guys level up, but like you guys have to have a certain amount of trust in me and you guys put in a lot of hard work and you guys have a lot of gifts and talents that you share with me and the firm and our clients. And it's this whole big like symbiotic relationship.
Oh, it's huge. The trust part is huge. Not just trusting yourself, but trusting that others have your best interest.
Yes.
Like Abby, for example, has been, my fiance, has been so huge in supporting. Like I mentioned in the first segment, I was teaching at the university for like 10 years. You get really comfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't remember which guest said this, but they're like, comfort is the enemy of greatness or something to that effect. And that really resonated with me because I'm looking around and the opportunity here to be full-time and help the firm grow, help myself grow, get this podcast off the ground. I talked with Abby about it, and I think without even skipping a beat, she was like, you should do it.
Yeah.
You should do it. Just bet on yourself.
Right.
That you can do this. And we talked about maybe you and I, the kind of theme of this episode, maybe pivot, right? And I'm not talking about like Ross and the couch.
Pivot!
Pivot!
I love that.
But the idea that, you know what, you don't have to just keep doing what you've been doing, even though it's working. Mm-hmm. What if this other thing works even better?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I think, a lot of people, they get stuck because of comfort, right? And it's like, yes, because it's working. I mean, we see this all the time. The guest that didn't show up today, what I was going to talk to him about was, we see so many people every day that don't take action. Like when they're telling us their story, it's so clear to us, like, oh my gosh, you are in a terrible situation. Yes. But to them, like, they've lived in it so long, they know, like, maybe it could be better. But, we'll talk to them for an hour. They'll pour their heart out. We're like, okay, we can help you. Would you like to do something? And they're like, I'll think about it. I just want to, hopefully it'll get better, because it's like kind of this comfort. It's the familiar. Yeah. And, our brains, not to get too into the weeds, but like our brains are designed to keep us safe. And to our brain, anything familiar means safety. And so your brain will always default to that. And so you have to like really be intentional about pushing beyond that comfort zone. And, some things are going to fail, and that's totally okay. Like, that's how you kind of like find the things that really work. And that's how you get your big wins, is like getting out of your comfort zone, doing things, failing, making mistakes, getting back up, doing some things again.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
The witness is dismissed. No, thank you for this. I appreciate it. Yeah. And you know what? I don't know if you want to do the last segment from where you're sitting right now. Oh. Should we do the last segment together?
Yes.
How do you want to do this? We're going to do the off-air meeting on the air, because generally after the interview segment, we talk about like, well, what was your takeaway from that? Mm-hmm. Right? What was your takeaway from our little chat?
I don't know.
That I can make the boss cry and not lose my job over it.
Well, okay, so that's what I was thinking. Is like, a lot of people would say like I can be like very cold and calculating, but like everything is just right under the surface.
Yeah.
I'm actually like a very emotional person. So if you get me, if you like happen to just find that little gap and eke your way in, like I'm just a hot mess.
If you hadn't posted though this morning about his birthday, known. And I'm not a needs to check Instagram all the time guy anymore. It's not even on the homepage. I don't even get notifications just for that reason, because I'm like, you know what? Let me just put it aside.
Yeah.
But I checked it this morning because I'm like, oh, well, let me see what's going on with Holly. and sure enough, you had posted about. Is
she going to be here on time?
Yeah, sure enough, you had posted about him.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, I think I've got one question at least taken care of. Let's work our way there.
Yes.
Let's slalom our way to the question. And that's what's nice though, is getting to work with you on this project and this show. Is I see a more vulnerable side of you in these interviews and off the air than I think anybody else gets to see outside of Jeff.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. I was actually thinking about this the other day when you were in my office, and I was like kind of venting to you, and I was like, oh, he is still my employee and I am still his boss. But it is, for sure. You definitely see a different side of me than anyone else on the team sees, which, I don't know if that's good or bad, but that is true.
You should subscribe, comment, and never forget.
You were made for more. We're going to say that together, I thought.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. And never forget, you were made for more. Okay, I'm next to a microphone. I have needed to crack my back. Not even my back.
What?
But I'm just going to, my chest here.
What?
I cracked my sternum. Oh, Abby, I hold her close. I hold her close, and then I do this.
Oh my God, why?
Yes.
That is so weird. I thought you were going to bash the microphone at me for less. Oh, we didn't talk about your cup. Oh, dear.
We could talk about we could talk about it now. I'm still rolling and everything.
Okay.
This is a joke. Yes, I know I'm made for more. I thought about putting like, saved by grace.
Yeah.
But I got to lean into the joke. So now, but the problem is now I've got to think of all kinds of different graphics to put. Because just a heads up, if you haven't noticed already, we put Easter eggs in every episode. So if you want to go back,
We do. I mean, Taylor Swift's got nothing on us.
Tortured talent department is more like it.
Look at you
Yes.
being up on the new album and everything.
Oh gosh, no! Last night
yes.
we were listening after 10 o'clock.
Yes.
I am
Oh
a
my God.
newly converted Swiftie.
Okay, as am
Right.
I. Yes.
So. And all the girls are too.
What
even
conver-
the
what-
7-year-old boy
Okay,
is a converted Swiftie.
what was the change for you?
Oh, just Abby's passion.
Oh, 'cause she's a
over-
Swiftie.
Yes.
Got
yes.
it.
She went to
Okay.
one of the tours at SoFi
Yes.
or one of the concerts at SoFi.
Yes.
But just seeing her passion for it and how she through her passion got all the kids to be Swifties.
Okay.
And when the kids are interested in something that doesn't involve waking up at 6 a.m. and driving to a soccer field
Oh my
3
God.
hours away, I'm all for it.
Hallelujah.
I'm all for
I know.
it. Yes.
Yes.
So no, it's been really nice though. It's been fun. And we made a banner to put on the wall.
Oh my
and Abby
God,
got like
cool.
T-shirts with all the albums on it.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's cool. You guys are mega Swifties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I see now that's on camera. So that means whenever Eras Tour 2 comes around,
Yes.
I'm gonna have to like get a suite next to Kelsey or something. It's all right.
Yes.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you, Aaron.